So, guys, so today we'll go on with implicature, okay? And so today will be like the last major lecture for our class, meaning the whole content of our class this semester will stop here at implicature, unless you want to study more. Because next week we can do review, okay? Actually, I have prepared another topic, but I think maybe this is enough for you, unless you really want to study another topic. But we can stop here in terms of the content, the coverage for our class this semester. So we have talked about three types of implied messages, right? Or three types of meaning. We started off with entailment, and that has to do with the logical relationship between two statements, right? That if one statement is true, the second statement has to always be true as a result of the truth of the first statement, right? So you can use P and Q. Q has to always be true as a result of the truth of P. So for the entailment, you have two statements and they have a strict relationship, meaning necessary relationship. Like Q has to always be true as a result of the truth of P. Okay? If P is true, Q has to always be true, in other words. And then we talk about presupposition, which is a different type of implied message. Presupposition has to do with background assumption, the things that the speaker already takes for granted. Beliefs, in other words, what the speaker takes for granted, without having to say that, yeah, this is what I believe in, right? Or this is what I believe. It's already in there, and he makes other points. Okay? And the difference is that the presupposition is constant, meaning no matter from what perspective the speaker says the sentence from, right? Like, for example, negative or question or modalized or conditionalized statement, the presupposition is still there. Okay? And then the last type of implied messages that we talked about is implicature, right? So there are two kinds of implicature. The first one is conventional, right? Conventional implicature. We haven't talked about that today. This is the day for conventional implicature. And last time we talked about conversational implicature, right? So conversational implicature arises out of people's violation of some maxims, conversation maxim, right? Meaning that usually we cooperate with our conversation partner to get the message across, to understand something, right? Even though we might be in a fight, even though we might be arguing, we still rely on the cooperation in order to understand that person's point, even though we are not happy with what we hear. Right? We still understand what it is because we rely on the fact that that person will cooperate with us in trying to get the point across. And the cooperation principle has 4 maxims that we studied last time, right? So manner, so we should say things that are clear. Manner, quality, we should say things that are really true, that we believe in. Quantity, we should say things that are enough in terms of information, not too much, not too little. And finally, we have relation or relevance, meaning we should say things that are related to the topic at hand. Right? These are like straightforward cooperation, right? This is what we usually do in our daily life. So we say things that are related. If I ask you, have you eaten lunch yet? Then you say, yes, I have, no, I haven't. That's straightforward in terms of relation, in terms of quantity, quality, and manner, right? Let's suppose that your answer is true, like that. But there are times when when we flout, F-O-U-T, when we flout or when we violate the maxims consciously and intentionally, and the other person knows that we are flouting the maxim or we are violating these maxims too, right? In order to create the implied message, okay? Not straightforward message, but implied message, right? When we follow strictly all these maxims, we don't create any implied message, right? We just say straightforwardly, have you eaten? Yes, yes I have, no I haven't, right? But if I ask you, have you eaten yet? And you said to me, I have had class all day. That's not straightforward. That person still cooperates with me in talking, but it's not straightforward following these maxims, right? So in violating or in flouting the maxim, intentionally he or she wanted to like create some kind of implied message. I have had class all day, meaning that person hasn't eaten yet, like that. So the violation or the flouting of these maxims will get you the implied message, okay? And that implied message, the implicature here is different from presupposition, is different from entailment in that the implicature will not have the necessary relationship. It's like dependent on the context and it is dependent on both speakers, right, at that particular point in time, okay? So that's what we have studied so far. This is the handout that we worked on last time, but we didn't finish, right? We already did number 3, so we have number 4 and 5 left. Does anyone need a copy? This is a situation that always happens to me, like when a person who is absent asks me this question, I was absent on Monday, did I miss anything important? And the answer is, oh no, of course not. We never do anything important in class. So what maxim, what might be the implied message that I'm making here? What do you think I may have meant there? Do you think that I believe that truly? That when I come to teach a class, there's nothing important when I teach? No, right? I don't even believe that, right, myself. So the maxim that's violated is the quality maxim, right? Because the quality maxim says that we should say what we believe is true, right? And I don't even believe in that myself, that there's nothing important, right, in our class. So everything is important, in other words, right? That's what I truly believe. But why do I do this? Because in order to give the implied message, right? What might that implied message be? That, you know, everything is important. And that question is dumb, for example. Like, that's not a smart question to ask like that, okay? That's a silly question like that. Everything is important, of course. So that question is dumb to start with. So that's the implied message that perhaps I wanted to make in that situation. And that implied message only arises out of the flouting of the maxim of quality, right? Because I intentionally lie, and then the person will know that, okay? And the reason that the student would understand this message is because he senses that it's a sarcastic remark, right? He senses that it's a sarcastic remark. And the student would like become aware that, well, Krista must be intentionally violating the maxim. And because he teaches the class himself, he should believe that everything is important like that. Okay, number 5, which is the last one. Ao Kyung-wan, while waiting for the class to start, asked Gyu-ho, isn't Krista's class useless? And Gyu-ho says, oh, it really is a nice day out, isn't it? So you can see that the answer doesn't really match the question, right? But still, there might be an implied message. So what is the maxim that is being violated here? First, to start, relation or relevance, right? Same thing. Or relevance, whatever you want to call it. Because the question is about the class. What do you think about Krista's class, whether it's useful or useless? And Gyu-ho said something about the weather, which is a totally different topic. So it's not related, right? So this is a violation of the maxim, and he intentionally does that to convey an implied message, to convey an implicature. So what might be the implicature there? Why must he be talking about a different topic why does he want to avoid answering that question? What might be a possible situation? Maybe because I just happened to walk in at that time, right? While they are waiting for class to start, I just walk in. Maybe we better not talk about it. Now, because Krista is close by, like that. Krista might hear us like that, right? So he changed the topic intentionally in order to imply that. Okay, so that's it for the conversational implicature. Okay. Before we move on, can I just go back to entailment? So last time, there were a few students who came to ask me after class about the relationship between these two statements that we did in class. The P statement is less than 5 students are over 35, and the Q statement is less than 5 students are over 30. So whether P entails Q or not, right? In this case, we say that P does not entail Q, right? P doesn't entail Q, right? Why? So let me explain one more time as to why. Okay? So if we start from P, right? We have to start from P because P is always true, right? So if P is true, so let's look at the situation when P is true. It says there, less than 5 are over 35. So you have 35 right here. Let's say that that's the age. Let's see, 35, and then 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, like that, okay? Now, the P statement says less than 5 are over 35. So less than 5 are over 35, meaning you can have 0 to 4, right? Because that's less than 5. Right? So you have 0 to 4 people. Could be 0 to 4 because it's less than 5. Not even 5, less than 5. 0 to 4. it says less than 5 are over 35, meaning they could be 36, 37, 38, whatever, or to 100, whatever. We know that. We know that there are only 0 to 4 people. We don't know the exact number. We know only there are 0 to 4 over that age range, okay? And they could be, who knows how old they are. And then does it entail that, less than 5 are over 30, right? Students told me, well, 35 is over 30, then it has to include that 30, right? Because entailment is like the kind of the broader thing covers the more specific, right? But in this case, no, because we only know that we are only told that there are maybe 4, right, above that, but we are not told about here. We're not told there could be 100 people here, but still it's true, right? There could be 100 here between 31 and 34, and yet there are only 0 to 4 over there. So we are not told as to whether there are less than 5 over 30 here or not. There could be 100 people here, right? So P doesn't entail Q in that case, in this case. And if you change it to more than 5, change this to more and change this to more, then the situation would be the reverse, okay? That is because of the negative and positive thing. Less is negative, more is positive, right? So we know that the fact that it's negative or positive will affect the entailment in a very straightforward way. If there are more than 5 that are over 35, then there are more than 5 that are over 32. Okay? Less is negative and more is positive. That's why it kind of messes up. It kind of messes up or it upsets the relationship between the two sentences. And I agree that 35 would cover 30, but only in a positive way only, right? But when you put in the word less, it makes that kind of opposite change. Okay? So that's maybe where there might still be a problem. Again, now we come back to conventional implicature, okay? We already talked about conversational implicature. So in this table, you see the 4 different, maybe 3 major different types of implied messages, but there are actually 4, right? We have entailment, okay? Entailment. You have one column that has to do with the literal meaning, and the other column that has to do with the literal meaning plus the maxims, right? So when you have the maxim, it has to do with conversational implicature that we just finished. But when you consider the literal meaning alone, the meaning according to what the sentence says, you have entailment here, you have presupposition, and you have conventional implicature. So what is the entailment? Entailment is the information presented as new, okay? At issue content of the sentence. When the word at issue means it's important, okay? At issue. When something is at issue, it means it's important, okay? At issue means that it's important, it's the main thing, it's the main idea when something is at issue. Okay? At issue. What is at issue today? What is at issue is conventional implicature like that. At issue means important. But the presupposition is different from entailment in that the information in the presupposition is presented as already assumed. And it's the content taken for granted and it's backgrounded information. So it's not like new, okay? It's not new, it's not at issue. It's what is in the background, is what is already believed, is pre-believed, okay? So it's not at issue, it's not new. But finally, the conventional implicature is not new, is not at issue, but is not background either. So it's not entailment, it's not presupposition, but it's just like information that's presented as a side comment, right? Is new. Did I say new? So it's new, but it's not at issue, okay? Entailment is new, conventional implicature is new, but entailment is new and at issue, meaning it's new and important. But conventional implicature is new but not important. It's like panchan that you eat, the side dishes that you eat in Korean cuisine. Panchan, not important, not the main dish, not bulgogi, but panchan. So this is the conventional implicature. The main dish is the entailment. The panchan is the conventional implicature. Okay? So on the side. So just to make things more clear, now I have three types of information, three types of implied messages here, as you can see. But we start off from two main sentences, okay? Tasom is from Busan. The first one, therefore she is cute. Tasom is from Busan. Therefore she is cute. The second one, Tasom is from Busan, but she is cute. You can see that there is a really big difference between the two, even though everything is the same, right? Tasom is from Busan, that's a fact. And then she is cute, that's a fact. Both are facts, right? But the relationship between the two sentences in the first one using therefore, and the relationship between the two statements in the second one using but, it makes the whole like two statements combined really different, right? So in terms of entailment, what can be entailments of the two statements here? We have Tasom is from Korea, that's an entailment, right? Because Busan includes the fact that it's Korea, right? And then Tasom is from Busan and Tasom is cute. So these are like all the entailments here. And in the two sets, the entailments are the same. They are fact, right? Entailments are fact. So Tasom is cute, both same. Tasom is from Busan, the same. Tasom is from Korea, the same, right? So entailments are the same for both of them. For presupposition, the presupposition is the same for both of them. There's a person named Tasom. When I say that Tasom is from Busan, then I assume that there's a person by that name. Busan is a place or a town because I said she's from there, meaning it has to be a place, like, so that's the assumed knowledge, assumed information. So the presuppositions are the same in both of these. But what's different is the conventional implicature here. I do not mention conversational because there's no maxim violated or anything in this situation. So conventional implicature here, something that's anti-backgrounded, not part of what is at issue but on the side. In the first one, Tasom is from Busan, therefore she is cute. It implies, right? It implies that Tasom's being cute is a consequence of her being a Busan person. So because therefore signals the consequent, right? So in this case, it implies that people from Busan are cute. Is this true? All people from Busan are cute? Maybe, maybe not, right? In the second one, Tasom is from Busan, but she is cute. This is different, right? The implied message is Tasom being cute is unexpected, right? But Tasom is from Busan, but she is cute, meaning you don't expect, the speaker doesn't expect people from Busan to be cute. So that's why he or she uses but, okay? So that's what we are talking about here, which is conventional implicature, okay? So it's not the main, so you can see that it's not the main meaning, okay? The main meaning is entailment, and they are the same. Tasom is from Busan, and Tasom is cute. These are facts. So these are entailments, but things here are implied, okay? So in English, what can give out the conventional implicatures? So CI conventional implicatures, okay? So things that have to do with conjoining sentences or statements like and, but, therefore, although, despite, these are things that can give rise to conventional implicatures. And also appositives, you know appositive, right? Like noun phrases that are after another noun phrase. Like you knew, the former spy, like that. So this is what we call appositive. And non-restrictive relative clauses like who, which, when, like that. Or as parenthetical words that have the kind of subordinate clause that has as, like this one, as the press reported. So these will give rise to the conventional implicature. Like you knew, the former spy is now behind bars. In this case, the implicature is Hyun-woo is the former spy, like that. Okay? So it's not the main content of the sentence because the main content is Hyun-woo is now behind bars. He's in prison. So this is giving like additional information on the side, and it implies that he is a former spy, like that. Okay? Or sentence adverbs like clearly the athlete started his descent. Clearly here is like cleverly. It is clever of him to do that. So that's the implied message. It is clevered, like that, of him to do that. So that's the implied message there. Right? It's not the entailment. And in other things like here, you knew is the former spy, like that. It's not the main information, it's like given extra information on the side, like panchan, right? But it's implied in there. Right? Or expressives like these guys, like I haven't seen your damn, bloody, or freaking, or fucking dog, like that. So these expressive adjectives, right, make the implied message that the dog or your dog is ugly or like that, or bad or like that. So when you have all these things, right, it's implied there, right? Or this one, Gyu-ho sat down to eat. The little rascal was hungry. Here is like a naughty person. Like it's like a term that we use for affection rather than hatred. So it's an affectionate term. The bad boy, like that, said with affection, was hungry, like that. So it's implied in there, right, that he, Gyu-ho, is a little rascal, like that. But it's never presented like that there. Okay? Or the Thai people submitted a proposal for political reform, but that stupid reform, that stupid thing, won't get anywhere. So this is what it implies, right? The speaker or the writer implies that the proposal is a stupid thing. Okay? So we'll practice the CI, conventional implicatures, in these 4 sentences. I'll show you an example. Number 1, even Jun-sung has a girlfriend. What does it mean here? Even. It's not the main, right? It's not the main message there. The entailment is Jun-sung has a girlfriend, right? So, but what does even contribute to the sentence? What kind of contribution? What kind of contribution even add to the sentence? It contribute, right? It adds some implied message, right? So it has some contribution. So what contribution does even add to the sentence? When we say even Jun-sung has a girlfriend, what does it mean, even? Even is like he is the least, right, expected person to have a girlfriend. Even he has a girlfriend, like that. He's the least expected, and there are other people that deserve to have a girlfriend. So this is like the panchan, the implied message on the side, okay? Which is implied in there. And it's not taken for granted, right? This is new information. Now, can you do 2, 3, and 4? So I'll give you maybe 4 minutes or 5 minutes. So number two, if we talk about entailment, it entails Gyuho is hungry, and it entails he won't stay for supper, right? It entails Gyuho is hungry, and it entails he won't stay for supper, like that, right? That's the entailment. But in terms of CI, conventional implicature, because of the word but, right? So the implied message is we might expect him to stay for the supper because he is hungry, right? So that's kind of the implied message that the word but conveys in this case. So it's the word but that conveys that. So this is the implied message that but conveys, okay? But the entailment has, there are two entailments. Gyuho is very hungry and he won't stay for supper, right? Number 3, Jawan has been looking for a girlfriend too. In this case, the entailment, okay? Entailment is just Jawan has been looking for a girlfriend, okay? That's the entailment. But when we add the word to, it gives an implied message, right? That some other people, some other given people, person or people has been looking for a girlfriend. So you wouldn't use to by itself, okay? Number 4, still, Krista has not been treated at an upscale restaurant. So in this case, the entailment is here, right? But there's an implied message that still gives, right? Which is he's expected, right? It's expected that Krista will be treated. When we say the word still, okay? It's expected that he will be treated. So it's not the entailment, it's the kind of implied meaning that still conveys. Okay, so far so good. So now you know conventional implicature, right? Now this one, before we go on, you know what this is? This is like back when, this is how I studied Korean here at Hanyang. And this is like a year ago when I was in level 2. And then here we are studying the use of saw, the use of go to join sentences, okay? Like also, or hair also, like that. And then the use of go, verb plus go. But what I want to point out here, you guys, what I want to point out here is that there is a conventional implicature in saw, also, and in go, which I have no idea what it's about. Like this one, 친구를 만나다, and then 친구 만나서 영화를 봐요. Like and then, I can translate like and then, right? So, and then for this one, they meet each other and then they 헤어지다 to say goodbye. And then that person, that guy, went to see the movie. You use go there. And according to my Korean professor who doesn't speak English, she says, you use saw when there's a connection. You use go when there's no connection between the events. But that doesn't make any sense to me. Because there's a connection there, right? Connection. And then there's connection there too. And right now, I'm still unclear. Like, look here. So this one, number 2, I used 다 써, right? After I took the 지하철, then I went to school. Connection, right? That's connection. I took the train in order to go to school, in my mind, in my English-speaking mind. And then I went to school, right? I mean, there's a connection. I got wrong. I don't know why. And then number 3, I ate 점심, and then I did homework. That's a connection, right? After I did homework, after I ate 점심, I did homework. That's a connection to my mind. Wrong. It has to be 먹고. And then here, 아침은 먹었어요. I ate the 아침, and then I went to school. Well, there's a connection right after another. So I used saw. Wrong. I don't know why until now. No reason. But something must be going on there. And that can be only explained by conventional implicatures. That, according to her words, there is connection in when you use our saw. There's no connection when you use go. But that's what she said. But I don't really understand it. And even now. And people say that our saw could indicate the result. Like, I miss you so much, so my heart hurts, like that, right? But there's no kind of resultative thing here. So anyways, that's just an example to show you that in your language, when you use the conjunction like and or also or go, there is that conventional implicature, which I don't understand. So anyway, so that's how I study Korean, okay? So you can laugh. Next page. Let's see, maybe I'll skip this for today and I'll come back to talk about this on Monday. I want to point out that in English, there is a conventional implicature for every single contrastive markers that you use. Like when you use but, you might not be able to use, when you use conversely, you might not be able to replace conversely with but, for example. And sometimes you cannot use on the contrary when you mean but, for example. So we'll come back to talk about that because there's a specific implicature that arises out of each contrastive marker in English. But this is a long story, so we don't have a lot of time today, so we'll skip that. And we'll do more practice on the last page. The last page here gives you more practice on conversational implicatures, okay? So conversational implicature, this time conversational implicature again, it has to do with crisis maxims, right? Remember, the implicature, the conversational implicature only arises out of the violation of the maxims, of one of the maxims. So can you tell me, can you answer the questions here? Okay. So in number 1, how do you infer the meaning of the second speaker in each case? Like there are maybe 4 or 5 cases, 2 cases here. So what do you think the second speaker might mean? Jun-sung, do you like my new pants? KM, Kyungmo says they are pink. Do you think he likes it or not? Like that. So I'll give you maybe 5 minutes to work on these examples. Do 1 and 2 to start with. Do 1 and 2 first. Number 1 and number 2. Okay, there is an implicature, and there's an implicature that I didn't even realize, but Tom pointed out to me. In number 2, coffee, it would keep me awake all night. There is an implicature there, like dirty implicature there that he pointed out. So, but I didn't realize that. In number one, they are pink. When Kyungmo said they are pink, do you think that he likes the pants or not? No, right? So, so the implicature might be they are ugly. Even. And what might be the maxim that is being violated here? Maybe relevance or maybe quantity, right? Because he is talking, well, relevant is good, but quantity may be like more obvious because he should have given more information about his liking or not liking, right? And number two, coffee. Mi-young says it would keep me awake all night. Maybe that's what he wants. So in this case, Mi-young's reply means she wants it or not? No, right? Okay. Now the situation will change, right? Or the implicatures will change if the situation changes, because implicatures, conversational implicatures, only depend on the situation. Now, if we come to number two, we find out that pink is Junsong's favorite color, and he likes pink, and Kyungmo also knows this, right? So the meaning, the implicature will change, right? Because the context changes or the situation changes. So if that's the case, if it's the case that pink is Junsong's favorite color and Kyungmo also knows that, then the meaning will change that I like them. They look good on you, right? If he just doesn't say that just to compliment Junsong, right? And for number two, if Tam knows that Mi-young is burning the midnight oil, meaning she studies hard for the exam, burning the midnight oil meaning stay up all night to read or to work, and Tams know this, then, well, it means she wants it, right? So you can see that the situation and the background knowledge of people will change the implicature. So implicature is something that is really fragile, meaning something that can change. It's not constant like presupposition, or it's not constant like entailment, right? Because it is really depending on the situation. So we have two more questions to go. So I'll give you 5 more minutes to do this. That in number 3, do you think that if Song-ok asks, did you get the milk and the eggs? And Jun-hyuk said, I got the milk. Do you think that he also bought the eggs or not? And why or why not? Okay. So can you do that for about 5 minutes? I'll walk around to help you. So, in 3, you guys, in number 3, did Sung-ok get the milk? I'm sorry, did he get the eggs or not? What do you think? Did he get the eggs? No, right? No. Why do you think so? Because if he got the eggs, then he would have said it, right? If he had gotten the eggs, he would have said it. He would have said so. I got both, like that. Okay? He would have said so already if he had gotten the eggs. And why is that? Because he cooperated, right, in terms of the maxim of quantity, right? So meaning say the necessary information, give the necessary amount of information, right? So if he only said one thing, right? If he said only one thing, which is I got the milk, it means that's the only thing that he got it, okay? Because that's the only necessary amount for him to convey in that conversation. If he had gotten both, he would have said both, because he cooperated in terms of the quantity maxim, okay? And that's why we can interpret the implied meaning that way, because we take it that he follows the maxim of quantity, okay? Number B, I hear you invited Hye-min and Min-kyung to the party, and then Al Kyung-wan said, I didn't invite Hye-min. Do you think he invited Min-kyung then? Yes, right? Yes, for the same reason. Because if he invited both, then he would have said both, right? And again, it's the maxim of quantity that gives rise to that interpretation that we know that he did invite Min-kyung. Okay. Number 4, if you were Young-uk, what implicatures would you draw from each of Hyun-woo responses? Who used all the toilet paper? I used some of it. What might be the implicature that you can draw from there? And I hear you're always late with class assignments. Well, sometimes I am. Our friends should be here by now. Was that plane late? Possibly. So what might be the implicatures that you can draw from them? Maybe the implicature is I may have my share in using up the paper, right? Meaning part of it is my fault, like that. That's my share. I may have my share in using up the paper, like that. And in this case, I am late. And in this case, I don't know for sure. But the interesting point that I'm going to make here is, if in reality he used all and he's always late, like that, okay? And he knew for sure that they're going to be late. Do you think maybe in A and B, do you think they are lying or not? Are they lying? If in fact he used all of the toilet paper, and if in fact he's always late, do you think by saying some, I use some of it, and sometimes I'm late, do you think they are lying or not? Do you think they are lying or not? It depends on what you mean by lying, right? What is a lie? A lie is something that you say, right, so that the other person does not know about your intention to lie, right? So that the other person doesn't know about your intention to lie. But in this case, it's kind of, borderline case, because when you say some, all entails some, right? All always entails some. Always entails sometimes. So when you start off only at some and sometimes, when you start off there, the maxim of quantity, right? The maxim of quantity says that, well, give just enough amount of information, right? And the listener take it that this is the enough amount of information. So he doesn't like work up all the way to all like that. So because of the maximum of quantity, he just take it that this is the maximum sometimes, and I use some but not all. So in other words, that person, if in fact he used all and he's always late, he abides by the maxim of quality. Because what he says is true, right? In the sense that all entails some and always entails sometimes. He's right in terms of entailment, but he is wrong in terms of quantity. Right? Because the quantity says that give enough amount of information. But clearly in this case it's too little information, because in fact he used all the toilet paper and he's always late like that. So he's right in terms of quality, meaning all entails some always, and always entails sometimes. So he doesn't tell lie in that case, right? Because it's true that even though he used all, he must have used some, right? Even though he's always late, he's also sometimes late. That's true for sure in terms of quality. He doesn't lie. But in terms of quantity, in terms of the amount, he speaks less than what is necessary, because in fact it's all, and in fact it's always, not just some and sometimes, which might lead the listener to misinterpret the sentence. Okay? The same go for the last one. So certainty always, certain or certainty always entails possibility, and it's just the same that he doesn't really lie, but he doesn't give the right amount of information either. Okay? So that's the point that I want to make. We'll come back on Monday, and we will start the review, and also we'll finish up this handout.